Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a tutorial on shakes and warps. So first you just want 2 clips on your timeline, and I just added a simple screen pump transition. I'm going to do this in terms of transform rather than blur mode curves because I know not everyone has this plugin, and so I don't want to show something that not everyone has, but the same exact technique can be applied to using blur mode curves. First you want to make sure your motion blur is enabled here and on your 2 clips. So on your second clip you just want to open up transform, and first we're going to do a vertical shake. You're going to add your first position keyframe at the very beginning of the clip, then move your current time indicator over 1 unit, add another keyframe. So we do the vertical shake in terms of the Y value, which is 540, and first we want it to go down then come up, so we're just going to increase this 540 for our second keyframe. You can make this as long or as short as you want depending on how intense you want the shake, but I usually keep it around right here. Then drag your current time indicator to like the middle of the clip, add another keyframe. Now make this one a little bit less than 540, so like 502. Then drag it to the end and add another keyframe and make it just 540. For extra smoothness, highlight your keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, and easy ease. And now you have your vertical shake. This may look a little bit choppy because I'm using transform and I usually use blur mode curves, but it's the same concept. You can also expand off of this and add rotation values. You want to add your first rotation keyframe at the very beginning of the clip, then add your second keyframe a little bit past your second keyframe for the position. You can do positive or negative, it's just your preference, and I usually like to do +5. Then drag it a little bit past this keyframe and make it like -2 or -3. Then drag it to the end and bring it back to 0. And there's your vertical shake with rotation. Now let's do a horizontal shake. So same thing, you want to add your first position keyframe at the very beginning of the clip, move your current time indicator over 1 unit and add another keyframe. The horizontal shake is controlled by the 960 value, so we can either go right or left. I usually like to go right, so you just want to increase 960. Again, you can make this as long or as short as you want, then drag it near the middle and add another keyframe. Now make this one a little bit less than 960 in the opposite direction. Drag it to the end, add another keyframe, and bring it back to 960. And now you have your horizontal shake. You can add rotations to this as well, doing the same thing that you did for the vertical shake. So now we're going to go into warps. I'm just going to add a vertical shake for reference. So first for the squeeze warp, you're going to look up warp in your effects and presets and add it to your second clip. You want to change arc to squeeze, and then add your first keyframe and make it 0. Now move your current time indicator over 2 units, and then make this a value. I like to do around 25 to 30, but that's solely preference. Now drag it near the middle and make it like a negative value. I usually go for like -8. Drag it forward a little bit more and bring it back to a small positive value like 3, and then drag it all the way to the end and bring it back to 0. And there's your squeeze warp. Next we're going to do Turbulent Displace. So you're going to look up Turbulent Displace in your effects and presets and add it to your second clip. I like to make the amount 40 and the size in the high 200s, so like 280 or 290. You want to keyframe the amount at 40 in the beginning and then drag it to the end and make it 0. Now for adjusting the offset and turbulence, there's a lot of creative liberty. You're going to add a keyframe. This little dot regulates kind of like where the turbulence is going. I usually like to start off in the middle, so I just keep that keyframe as it is. Then I drag it towards the end and I take the little dot and I either bring it to the right or the left. Easy ease isn't needed for this, but I always like to add it just because. So I happen to like how these turbulence settings look on this specific clip, but for a different clip they may look bad. So to adjust it, you can either adjust the offset turbulence and where this little dot ends up, or you can just change the evolution. Lastly, let's look at skew warp. So this is achieved through transform and effects and presets. You just want to type that in and drag it into your second clip. Add your first keyframe for skew, and I like to start off with an absolute value of around 30, so this would be positive or negative. Then drag that to the end of your clip and make it 0. Now for this we have to use our graph, so just go to the graph editor and make sure you're on speed graph, and just follow my graph. You can make it faster or slower depending on what you like. This would make it faster and this would make it slower. Next you want to keyframe your skew axis, and like turbulent displacement, there's a lot of creative liberty with this. So for example, I'm going to start it off at like 120 degrees and I'll bring it to the end, and then I'll bring it back to 36 degrees. And you can always mess around with the settings, so maybe I want a larger skew axis, I can just bring it like that, and there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any questions, my comment section on here and my DMs on Instagram are always open. Bye!